Hey y'all, just had a quick word I wanted to give to you. Not on the front porch today, although it's a beautiful spring day in East Texas. So Marie and I have been talking, been spending a lot of time today. It's just kind of a quiet, leisurely day, but we've been spending some time listening to praise and worship, talking and reading, praying. So one thing that just really has been strong in our hearts here lately is just renewing our hearts and minds every day and making it, a process that is a habit, something that we do naturally, something we don't have to think about. Because when you don't do that kind of stuff, the devil wants to come in and start whispering in your ear and telling you, hey, you're not good enough, or hey, remember what you used to do, or hey, wouldn't that sin be cool? And the only way you can fight that kind of stuff off is to be prepared in both your heart and also in your head. And that comes from reading the Word, filling yourself with praise and worship, getting in God's presence, reading, praying, reading the Word. And it's something you got to do every day. And when you don't do it, that just gives the enemy a chance. And he's waiting for that chance. He's prowling around out there. So I want to share with you Romans chapter 12. First few verses here. Start verse 1, Romans 12. This is the New Living Translation. Probably my favorite because it's a thought for translation. It just kind of takes the original and puts it into something that we understand, the words that we would use today. So it's an easy read, and it's something I like to share with people. And so, dear brothers and sisters, I plead with you to give your bodies to God because of all He has done for you. Let them be a living and holy sacrifice, the kind He will find acceptable. This is truly the way to worship Him. Don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. So the world wants to tell you to do this, be this way, do this, do what you've always done. It's okay if you go to church every once in a while. It's okay if you talk about God, but keep Jesus and the Holy Spirit out of it because we don't want to hear about that kind of stuff. But don't copy the behavior and the customs of the world. You got to set yourself apart, and you have to transform yourself into the new person that Jesus wants you to be. He died for you to become this new person. And I've read this stuff my whole life, and it's taken me this long to really start to feel it and live it and get excited about it. Don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. So that's the whole goal. You're not just doing this just out of religion or out of habit. You're doing it because you want to follow God's will. God has a plan for everyone's life. And I don't claim to know mine and have found mine yet. I'm working on it still. It's a day-by-day process. But you got to start. Because of the privilege and authority God has given me, I give each of you this warning. Don't think you are better than you really are. Be honest in your evaluation of yourselves, measuring yourselves by the faith God has given us. And that's the thing about pride, and we were reading some stuff earlier, and that's the thing is that when you get to a certain point in life, you can become prideful, and it's the first step to really falling flat on your face and possibly losing everything, because sometimes you have to have all that stuff stripped away from you before you humble yourself and fall flat on your face before God. So don't get to that point. Don't let pride build up in you. Again, it's part of that transformation. You want to be confident in who God's made you to be, but it's not by our might. It's not by anything we've done. It's just by God's grace and mercy that we've gotten here, and that we are new and changed and transformed. Just as our bodies, this is verse 4, just as our bodies have many parts and each part has a special function, so it is with Christ's body. That's the church. We are many parts of one body, and we all belong to each other. In His grace, God has given us different gifts for doing certain things well. So if God has given you the ability to prophesy, speak out with as much faith as God has given you. If your gift is serving others, then serve them well. This one's parallel to some stuff I talked about from 1 Peter a couple weeks ago when I did a Porch Talk. It's very similar teachings from Paul in this case, and Peter in First Peter. Do these things that you're meant to do, that God gave you the gift to do. That's one thing Maria and I were studying with some profiles we did that show our spiritual gifts, and it turned out to be what we kind of knew we would be, but it's uplifting and encouraging to know that God has put these things in us and He expects us to use them. But to use our gifts, we have to get to the point to where we die to ourselves, where we don't conform to the world, to where we renew our minds every day, so that we can't have Satan coming in and going, and distract us and pull us away. If God has given you leadership ability, take the responsibility seriously. And if you have a gift of showing kindness to others, do it gladly. Verse 9, don't just pretend to love others, really love them. Hate what is wrong. Hold tightly to what is good. Love each other with genuine affection and take delight in honoring each other. Never be lazy, but work hard and serve the Lord enthusiastically. Rejoice in our confident hope. Be patient in trouble and keep on praying. When God's people are in need, be ready to help them. Always be eager to practice hospitality. I could go on and on because there's so much good stuff in Romans, but this is Romans 12. I read from 1 down to through 13. And there's just so much in there, encouragement, so much in there that we need to do, so much in there to learn from. And I could probably read that section every day for the next 2 weeks and not get tired of it, because there's so many things in there that speak to my brain and to my heart and to my spirit. So unleash the Holy Spirit in you. Unleash what God has for you. Find God's will and plan for your life. Renew yourself every day. Alrighty? We love you. Thanks for checking it out. Be blessed. Go to church tomorrow.